Valse Des Fleurs from the Nutcracker. Thank you, Luis, for the commission. We'll begin with the introduction that leads into the main theme, and I'll begin this tutorial by playing through the first 10-15 seconds of music for you, give you a sense of what you're up against, and then we'll dive deeper and go bar by bar, and I'll show you how you can learn the piece yourself. For now, though, here is what the music sounds like. As you can see, it has a lot of thematic elements that we come back to when we get to the main theme. It's very amorphous, very unmeasured, which is in pretty stark contrast to the main theme once we actually get to it. This is the intro, and once we get to the theme, we have 3, 1, 2, 3. Very straightforward, very measured. The intro, however, is very free, so you have a little bit of freedom here to push and pull the phrases as you wish. Okay, so we begin with the left hand and the right hand playing together. Thick and juicy chords. Left hand first. 5, 2, and 1. Played 3 times. And then a diminished chord, 1, 4, 2, and 1. Hold for a little bit. Resolving back to A major, this time with a C sharp. And when you have the first 3 open chords here, each one should be a little bit louder than the previous one. So we start quiet, we get a bit more, with a bit more sound until we land. Don't strain when you play this, just use your body weight and spill into this chord. Hold for a little bit and then relax for the resolution. As if you're sinking into sand with your fingertips. The right hand basically mimics the same thing, except that the right hand has the melody, which is this. So those top notes have to be brought out. 1, 2, and 4 to start. We're in A major here. And the 4th finger should be a little bit louder than the 2 beneath it. Like that. The same notes remain, but with the pinky up top. And now the pinky is melodic and loudest of the 4. Next. An inversion of A major, we have 1, 2, 3, and 5. Bring the 5 out, then diminished. 1, 2, 3. A firm, round, golden F sharp, and then relax. From 2 of these A major chords, 1, 2, 3, and 5. Try not to be tense when you're playing these. Just be heavy and free with a very loose and limber and flexible wrist. Your wrist should breathe. Find the position and then resolve. Easy enough, right? The hands play together at every moment, so it makes it easy to put together. Next, the arpeggio. All right, so it's just A major, right? A, C sharp, and E, A major, but spread out across the whole keyboard. 5, 2, 1 to start in the left. 1, 2, 4, 5 in the right. Those are your first two positions. First, second. And I would recommend learning it in position first. It makes it easier. Makes it easier to remember. So there, then there. The right hand across. 1, 3, and 5. There's your third position. And your fourth and final position. 1, 2, 3, and 5. So, the positions in chordal form. If you learn the positions really well, breaking it up then becomes quite a bit easier. You don't have to go fishing for any notes. Okay, so that's pretty good. So that's the way up. The way down is the exact same path. Same notes right up until this C sharp. We didn't have a C sharp before on the way up, but we have it here on the way down. And then this A, which started this whole thing off and is now ending it, is actually the next bar. It's the beginning of the next bar, bar 5. And it aligns with the first chord of the right hand in bar 5, which happens to be the same chord that started off the piece. 1, 2, and 4, right? And then as you practice this, the difficulties are always going to be going from one hand to the other. So the first thing you got to remember is, while one hand is playing, the other hand is getting in position. Don't wait until the last moment to move into position. You'll always be late, and then it'll sound panicked, and you'll probably hit the note too hard, or you'll miss it. So, move, and the same thing on the way back. The hand that isn't playing, and even now, right? We know that bar 5 is starting with this chord, so get in position so that you don't have to rush. That's the first step. Then, as you get better at it, the difficulty is going to be to make sure that these first 3 notes are comfortable. You know, they're generally not so difficult to make even. But going from thumb to thumb, sometimes it can be a little bit tricky. So one thing that you can do to help improve the technique here is start from the left-hand thumb and just practice bridging that divide or making it seamless. Because from the listener's point of view, it shouldn't really sound like you're playing with 2 hands. It should sound like one hand that has 100 fingers, you know? Same thing over here. And then you start to kind of stitch everything together again. That's the way I would go about making it as even and as smooth as possible. Moving on. We are now in bar 5, right? So after we finish our descent, here's our first beat of bar 5. Then we have some repetition. This again, and then this again. Right? The chords of beats 2 and 3 of the very first bar. That's comfortable, convenient. And now instead of going to this, which is what you've now learned, we're going to go to a more opened version of the same diminished chord. Left hand 5, 3, 1. Right hand 1, 2, 4, 5. If you can't reach this, not to worry. Break it. this chord can either align with the top of the roll or with the bottom of the roll, depending on how good you are with your pedal. If you're quite comfortable with using the pedal well and your pedal technique is strong, then you can definitely, from let's say here, yeah, you can pedal at the end of it, because the difficulty here, the risk that you run if you end up aligning this is that you're going to pedal in such a way that you kill the bottom notes. You're not fast enough in changing them to make sure that you keep them, and that's no good. And if you have that problem, if you end up sounding something like that, if you sound like that, then just align with the bottom note, and then you won't have that problem. Or ideally, if you have a big enough hand, play them together. Next, right hand. 1, 2, 3, 5 in the left hand. Again, very wide, so you can just roll into it. But I like it solid. And then moving forward, you have an arpeggio again, and it's almost the same, but there is a little difference up here. So it starts off the same way, right? Then the left hand continues. And this time, instead of playing a thumb on C sharp, you're going to play a second finger on the C sharp. And that will allow your thumb to play an E up here. In the previous version, it was the right hand that was playing the E. Right, that was the ending grouping for the right hand. This time, however, everything shifts over by 1 because the left hand takes that E, and now the right hand has this as its final position. A major and full bloom. And then the same way back. C sharp added, and then on to the next chord. Make sure that the hands get into position early, so you're not rushing or you're not fishing for notes. All right, once you get to the end, left hand is straightforward, right? We know it's the same. It's an A, and in the right hand, it's 1, 2, 4, and 5 that starts us off. Not just 1, 2, 4. This time, we start off with a pinky in the chord on C sharp. Let me show you what happens next. Cool. So, left hand first. 1, 2, 3, and 5, played twice. So A major in full bloom, followed by 1, 2, 3, and 2 notes down below. In the right hand, we have 1, 2, 4, 5, as I said, followed by an inversion. That's familiar. And then this chord, which we've just now learned previous to this arpeggio that we just finished. And these G's make this into a dominant 7 chord. Those are our notes for this bar. Moving on to bar 10. 1, 3, and 5. So it's everything aligning. Position. Let me play through everything so far, nice and slow, so you can make sure everything is in its right place. From the top now. So far, so good. And then when you're doing these arpeggios going up, not all of it has to be at the same speed, right? You can play them. You should be playing them kind of slow to start. And then you kind of speed up towards the top and then fold back down and slow down as you get to the end. It should feel a little bit like a harp, because it was written, I think, for the harp in the orchestral version. It should kind of sound like waves pulling up the shore and receding back. Okay, moving on to the next section we go, part 2, which will be on my website, in my library. Come and join if you'd like. There's a free trial, of course, and we'll continue forward. See you in just a bit. See you soon.